the knife is the most important tool in the kitchen. If we don't have the right knife, we can't cut properly. And if we can't cut and dice, there's very little we can do. How many knives do we really need? Well, you know, I have probably a collection of 200 knives. You don't need that many. As a matter of fact, you need 5, 6 knives. You need very good knife. Good knife will last you a lifetime. The most important knife, the knife you're going to use the most often, is a chef's knife. This is a 9-inch chef's knife. You need a very good quality knife. You need a knife that has a blade that goes all the way through the handle. A knife that is well balanced, a knife that fits good in your hand. And what I mean by well balanced, it means that the handle and the blades are about the same weight. So it feels very well balanced in your hand, and you don't have to doing any balancing that. It balances itself. A knife with a good weight is very important, and certainly a knife of the utmost quality is so important. A chef's knife comes in 8-inch. They come 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My favorite size is a 9-inch. I love them. Anything between 8 and 10 inch is good. Well, between 8 and 10, that's 9. Perfect chef's knife right here. So we need a chef's knife. Then we need what we call a slicer. Some slicers look like they're serrated. They have a little teeth to it. This is a very good slicer. I'll use this to slice anything from a turkey to a roast beef, to a filet mignon, to a pork tenderloin, or to a breast of chicken. So slicer is very important. It's a very thin knife, and it won't tear the meat as you are cutting it. So it's a very good knife to have. A serrated knife is most important also, a good serrated knife. A good serrated knife, you can use it for things like bread, like fruit, like I love cutting a pineapple with a serrated knife. Certainly for bread, but you must have a good serrated knife. I'll talk about this in a minute, our steel. This is a boning knife. Very important to have a boning knife. You can't clean a chicken breast or a pork tenderloin or a beef tenderloin or any meat item without a boning knife. Okay, boning knife, as I said, is one of the most often used knife in my kitchen, right next to the chef's knife. So we would definitely want a boning knife. Paring knife, I like a short paring knife. I think they're a lot easier to handle than a big one. Like they come 4 inches, 5 inches. I don't like them too big. I like a small paring knife and a good one. By the way, paring knife, you gotta have 2 of them. One you open up the boxes with, the envelope with, and one you keep for the fruits and the vegetables and everything you need to work with. Don't be opening no boxes with this. And most important tool, after all, I mean, I know every time I say the most important, but I'm only picking 5 knives here, is to have a good steel. What is a steel do? Will a steel sharpen the knife? No, it will not. A steel is not made to sharpen a knife. It's made to keep a knife sharp. That's what's important. You see, if you were to look at a knife, I don't want to go too technical about it, but I want you to understand it. If you were to look at a knife at the microscope and blow it up 1,000 times, you know what you would see? You would see all kind of little teeth, thousands of little teeth. As you are moving, that is what it's cutting. It's those microscopic teeth that are actually cutting through it. And what happens is when you use your steel, you are realigning those teeth, because every time you go down like that, those teeth are getting all disturbed, and they are not straight anymore, so they don't cut very well. And what happens is this steel here has hundreds of little grooves, and when you take your knife through it, you hold it at a 20-degree angle from what we call the heel to the tip of the knife. This is the heel, this is the tip, and you hold it at a 20-degree angle on both sides like this. And if you do it on one side, you have to do it on the other. And if you do this about 3-4 times, every time you cut, this will realign the teeth and making it very sharp again. Now, if your knife is dull, you can do this all day long. It's not going to realign anything because there's no more teeth. So then you need to sharpen it. You need to use one of those gadgets to resharpen it. This is a sharpener, and this is actually an actual steel. It created the same thing as this. So if you're not comfortable using this, you can use one of those gadgets, and it's actually a steel. And all you have to do is taking it and push it right through, and that will help you realign the teeth. Okay, so those are good gadgets to use, and you certainly want to do it. You want to keep your knife sharp. I'll explain real quick. If you were to cut a tomato, and the knife is not sharp, and you're cutting, and it's not cutting, what do? You push. And if it's not cutting, what do? You push a little more. Now this is when the knife could slip. And if a knife slips and it comes at you with 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, depends how many push-ups you did this morning, how strong you are this morning, now the knife is coming at you with all that pressure. It may be too dull for the skin of a pepper or the skin of a tomato, but I promise you, when the knife comes at you with 30, 40, 50 pounds of pressure, that's when you're going to hurt yourself. So a very sharp knife is not dangerous because you do not need to push. And as long as you keep your finger out of the way, you'll be fine. So remember, every time you cut, 10 times, you want to take the knife and put it on the steel. If you're not comfortable using the steel this way, the right way to do it is this way. The right way. This is not the wrong way. You can put it this way, look. 20-degree angle from the heel to the tip of the knife. And if you're not comfortable doing this, do this. You see? But every time you cut, every time you put it down. Matter of fact, when you take your knife out, you have to take your steel. In the same time. One goes with the other. One does not go without the other. Okay? This way, and now all of a sudden, we have a sharp knife.